What's going on? It's your boy Dscotty. We're back at it again with another video. It's early, it's a Saturday morning. I just got back from the gym, or I'm leaving the gym, and I am exhausted. But I really wanted to put this video out there, and it's essentially my experience with Plasti dip, and is it worth it? And in case you didn't know, I just recently Plasti dipped my whole car. I'll put the link for the video in the description if you want to check that out. But I just want to kind of give my thoughts and maybe some tips and tricks to kind of help anyone else who may be on the fence about doing it, or who wants to do it but just doesn't have enough information about it. Also, I'll link Dip Your Car in the description. Honestly, they have everything you need to figure out how to dip, whether it's your emblems, your wheels, or your entire car. So this was my first time dipping something of this caliber. I've dipped my rims multiple times and I've dipped emblems multiple times, but I've never dipped an entire car. I was really nervous, but also Plasti dip is 100% removable, so there's really no damage to be done. It's just a matter of, do you want to commit to it? Because this is a big commitment, and by the end of it, I was exhausted. I didn't want to do anything else, but let me just get into my experience. Overall, the experience was very well. There was only one hiccup, and that was not the gun, but the unit itself that you plug into the wall. Mine died when I was applying the clear coat with the pearls in it. So I was only able to get 2 coats of the clear coat. So I don't have as much pearl effect as I would like, and I also don't have that glossiness that I wanted. It's more of a satin finish right now, which is fine. It's just not entirely what I wanted. So it was kind of unfortunate. I contacted Plasti dip, and their customer service was A1. Like, they were very nice, very friendly. They understood what was happening. All they asked is that I send a video out of the machine not working, and they shipped me a new one next day, free of charge. Now, the not so good part was, this is my only car right now. So unfortunately, I had to go to work. I did this over the weekend, so I had to untape everything. And there was a couple of parts of the car that needed to be unmasked when it was still wet, so I could get a crisp line. So because it had dried, and then when I went to go apply another coat, the machine didn't work. I've got some parts of the car that the lines are kind of jagged and not really clean. So I tried my best to go back and just kind of touch those up, but I think I'll be able to touch them up a little bit better once I mask everything up again and finish the clear coats. Now, I'm in the process of buying just like a little beater car just for the time being. So I'll be able to kind of take my time with this, mask it, leave it masked, and then just get to it when I have the time. Now, overall, this project cost me about 900 bucks. It would have been cheaper if I owned a spray gun, but I didn't, so I had to invest in that. From here on out, since now they have a spray gun, it'll be cheaper. I just have to buy the product. I think I bought too much product. I ended up, so the kit came with 2 base coats of the Avalanche, 2 gallons of the Avalanche, which is your base coat, 3 gallons of the Nardo Gray, and then I got 2 gallons of the clear coat and the pearls. I only ended up I used all of the base coat, the 2 gallons, and then I only ended up using 2 gallons of the Nardo Gray. I was already, I think, like 5 coats in, and I wasn't sure if I had to keep going. Like, the car had full coverage, and you know, I was also just getting really tired. It was really late, so I ended up only using 2 gallons of the Nardo Gray, and I only ended up getting like half a gallon of the clear coat. Now, I will say this project probably took me anywhere from like 14 to 17 hours. It's a project. Like, you might be able to do it in a day if you really like started early, but it was just too much to do in a day for me. So what I ended up doing was I did all the prep in one day. So that includes cleaning the car, drying it to near perfection, and then start masking things off. And then, so I did let the car dry overnight just to make sure that there wasn't going to be any water to interfere with the dip. And I'm going to say this, spend the time to really prep. The more you prep, the better the outcome of a project that you're going to have. A lot of people I see knock on Plasti dip. They're like, oh, it just doesn't look good, it's cheap. And honestly, I've never had a problem with it, and I always just take my time. It doesn't look good if you don't spend the time to do it well. That's the thing. So spend the time to prep, and it's gonna make the end result so much better. Now, regardless of how much prep I did, I knew I was still gonna get some overspray somewhere. But honestly, the most tedious part is the prep, and I can't stress it enough to take your time and spend the time to prep correctly. Now, the dipping part, essentially, it was a little weird just because I didn't have any experience with the spray gun. And in the beginning with the base coats, I was definitely rushing. I think because one, I was just nervous, and two, I just didn't have any experience of doing a project this big. So by the time I was done the base coats, I kind of got the hang of it. Now, the car isn't perfect. There is one spot you can see a slight run in the rear. And then, like I said, there's some lines that just really aren't clean. And there's also some tiger striping that you can see. Now, you can't see these without really looking at the car, and everyone that I've seen, they haven't noticed it, and they're like, they just are really impressed with how good it looks. But personally, I know it's there and it really bothers me. So I will go back and try to fix it as best as I can. But I knew this wasn't gonna be a perfect project because this was my first time. And honestly, overall, I am just so satisfied and so happy with the result. I mean, this was a big project for me, and to me, it turned out really well. And from about 5 feet and back, the car looks flawless. You can't tell. Now, I get a lot of questions. They're like, oh, is this a wrap? Plasti dip is not a wrap. It's a rubber spray, I guess you would say. You spray it on. I don't have any experience with wrapping, so whatever I say comparing these, take it with a grain of salt. I'm just going based off of what I've seen and what I've talked to other people about who have experience wrapping. The prep work for Plasti dip compared to wrapping, I think Plasti dip requires more prep work. Again, I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm getting based off of what I've seen and what I've heard. Now, laying down vinyl versus Plasti dip, I don't know if it's more difficult. It seems like it would be for certain parts, like getting those tight angles and stuff like that. Seems like wrap would be a little more difficult to work with, whereas with the Plasti dip, you just spray. So I think Plasti dip's a lot more of a user-friendly kind of product, which is why I went with that, because, like I said, I had very little experience Plasti dipping, but they make it so user-friendly that it's not as hard to mess up. And if you mess up, it's removable. There's no harm, no damage done to your car. The Plasti dip is also going to provide you with, in my opinion, better protection for the paint underneath versus a wrap. Because it's got that rubber kind of material to it, it's going to deflect more of those rock chips and light abrasions more than a wrap would. I've still seen people get rock chips through wraps. I've also seen people still get rock chips through dip. But just going based off of what I know, I would think that it's going to provide you with a better protection. So that's also kind of a plus. Got to protect that OEM paint. Now, overall, I would 10 out of 10 recommend this product. You just have to take your time. That's all. I can't stress that enough. Just take your time and it'll come out well. I rushed a little bit in the beginning, and you can kind of, I know I can see it, that I rushed a little bit. Would I Plasti dip again? 100%. Honestly, I see myself keeping this at the minimum a year, or when I just get tired of it, and I would definitely dip it again a different color. And eventually, financially, when the time comes and I want to get another project sports car, I'm going to keep that a secret for now. But for anyone that sticks around long enough, remember this moment because big things are coming. So I'm just super excited. But anyways, back to the Plasti dip. Getting off topic. If you have any questions about my process and my experience, just comment down below and I'll do my best to help. But the biggest help, honestly, was just going to dip your car to their YouTube page down in the description and just watching their videos. They have every kind of video you need, from prepping the car to properly spraying the car, from the beginning to the end. They've got every step-by-step that you need. Just go and watch it and then just go for it. And just take it with a grain of salt. It's not gonna be perfect your first time unless you have experience or you're a painter, I don't know. Unless you're just good at stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm not the best, but they make it very user-friendly. Their customer service, I called and had a question about a few things. They were very nice. They were able to answer everything and guide me in the right direction. So don't be afraid to just call and ask questions. And like I said, I'll do my best to try to help you guys out. If you have any questions, just comment them down below. And good luck. I mean, I would love to see your guys' projects with dip. If you're kind of on the fence about it, or if you're in the process of doing it, let me know. I'd love to check it out. But honestly, the channel's been doing really well. I mean, I just kind of do this as a hobby right now, and I love it. And I get a lot of positive feedback, and I really, really appreciate every single one of you that give me that feedback. It just makes me feel good, and it just makes me want to keep doing this. So I really appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this video. The links for everything are down in the description. If you have any questions, let me know. Do my best to help. And like always, thank you so much for checking out the video. Dscotty.